Hi guys, welcome to my first video. Now, I'm not entirely sure what to do for this since this was the only thing available for me. So, just a heads up that since this is a first time thing, I'm going to be, a little awkward at first, but I will be playing just some normal gameplay in the background while I speak, but I just wanted to go ahead and release something to show y'all that I could, and talk about some things, talk about plans, future plans, what my general goals are. But yeah, just a quick disclaimer before we get into this. We're gonna load up a game just so I can start talking to y'all. So this is VR. Yes, VR is the only thing that I have currently, alongside a phone and an iPad that really works with YouTube and stuff. So recording this video for y'all is a bit iffy, to be honest. Pretty sure this video is gonna be quite low quality, and probably gonna be interrupting the game here and there. Not entirely sure people can hear the in-game sounds, and sorry for the terrible gameplay, but currently I don't have a personal computer, so, and being able to edit and record videos with good quality mostly requires having a PC, which I do not have, sadly, because I just don't have it. I wish I did so I could edit and stuff, but my general goals and stuff, let's start there. What are my plans? Well, if you've seen me in the comments, if you've been with me on YouTube for a while, even if I haven't, you haven't really seen anything about me uploading and stuff, which I haven't, I promise you. Generally, I've been a huge fan of uploading videos, gameplay, and specifically talking about the lore of games, specifically Doors. Doors is by far my favorite video game out of all of them, mostly because it feels special to me. And, I want to stick with that, even if it'll be quite limited with the equipment that I have currently. It's still possible, mostly. So, yeah. I've always loved to take games, and I am being absolutely crapped on by this guy. Take games apart from the inside out, take them apart and study them, generally, from a theorist perspective. And it's just kind of been something I enjoy doing, naturally gifted at it. I like to analyze stuff, is basically what I'm saying. I've always been into mysteries and puzzles and stuff, just generally stuff like that. So of course I'd be good at, theorizing about a video game, which is, fiction for the most part. This video is totally unscripted, by the way. If you haven't told, if you couldn't tell by now, I kind of just gave up on the script I was writing a while back, mostly because it felt just too what's the word I'm looking for? It didn't feel genuine. Not really. I mean, I'm also just not really into writing scripts and stuff because it feels like it's taken way too much time, but it would help if I genuinely took the time to stop and start writing a script. But currently for this first video, I kind of just want to say it as I feel, honestly. Just talk in general. And yeah, top tier gameplay coming from me. Ooh, somebody back there. But yeah, I genuinely just really like theorizing. I also want to try out gameplay and stuff once I get more equipment so I can go ahead and like play games on a PC with like higher quality and stuff. But for now, we're just gonna stick with Breachers and VR games and stuff as background gameplay as I talk. Editing wise, for videos and future reference, there's really not going to be a whole lot of editing. Mostly because I don't really know how to on a VR headset. I'm not entirely sure it's even possible. But I will try my best to edit with what I got, like, cutting stuff out, adding some background noise, because I don't think recording this video, because I've reviewed like multiple test videos and stuff with the VR, and so far I haven't been able to hear any gameplay sound coming from the background. So when I do review this, I'll double check and see, but I'll try to add some music to the background. Just so you don't hear my voice cracks and stuff as easily. But yeah. Of course, it's not always going to be, this bad of quality, I promise. Eventually I will go ahead and get myself some equipment, better equipment to start recording. I really do want to learn how to edit. And if you've been with me just or just reading my posts that I do regularly on YouTube, then you should know by now that I love to draw. If not a new fact, I love to draw. And that's a drone. I do really that one guy. Uh, yeah, I also want to learn how to animate with drawings and stuff. I'd like to learn pixel animation and generally achieve 3D animation, just to test stuff out. See what I'm good at because I haven't had the opportunity to get to try some of those things, and it seems really fun. I've also really don't have the equipment to try like making and remixing music in general, so that'd be fun to try out. This is all experimental, so it's all very new to me. But yeah, that's the editing aspect of that. Now, content wise, like I already talked about, what my goals and what type of stuff I want to do. I really, really want to make theories. I've already said that, but going back to that and going in greater detail, I really want to start out with Doors theories because Doors is my favorite game for a reason. It's what allowed me to start everything here because while there are other aspects into that allow me to that inspired me to do stuff, to make theories, to head to YouTube and start posting, despite the fact that very, very few people are ever going to see those posts. I wanted to kind of lost my train of thought there, but I wanted to make theories on Doors because Doors is special to me. Let's start real quick, go back in time to like a little before like 2014, roughly around when Five Nights at Freddy's released. Maybe it was after. Anyhow, so Five Nights at Freddy's released. I was still pretty young, but I immediately fell in love with the game. And at that point, I wasn't really into theorizing directly, but I did love it. I loved the mystery behind it. I loved the characters because story, mystery, and characters are the three aspects of basically anything that makes me love a game. If it has good story, interesting, I love it. If it has good mysteries, I love it. If it has a million characters that are all very unique and very weird or wacky or whatever, I love it. But generally, Five Nights at Freddy's, yeah, I loved it. I am still to this day a hardcore fan of FNAF, FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's. If you didn't realize that's what most people call it, it's generally well known. But at that point, I was still not really into making theories of my own. But then, like a couple years back, like 4 or 5 years ago, I started getting into YouTube and watching content and just generally enjoying it. But specifically, there was one channel that I loved the most. And if you can guess, it's pretty easy to guess what it is, but But if you've ever heard of game theory, then yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Game theory was the channel that inspired me most to start making theories, to start leaning into my detective side. And so I did. It's kind of what started it with MatPat and all. R.I.P. MatPat, who is now Matt Politician, apparently. Um, yeah, I loved his theories. I loved his content. I thought he was funny. And I just overall generally enjoyed it. It's something that really inspired me. But that's not even what inspired me most. Because speed up to like 2022. Doors releases. Now, I had no idea who Lightning Splash was, like, at all. Yet, I still ended up being like player within the 300th player area of the game. So I was like one of the very first people, well, 300th people to play the game, because I remember some friends had really wanted, like, said, hey, we just found this game randomly, and they wanted me to play it with them, so I played it with them and absolutely loved it. But so where am I going with this? Well, Doors is incredible. It's very simple. If you don't know what Doors is a almost a roguelike game where each round, each game that you start within it isn't gonna be the exact same as the last. I mean, things are gonna be similar in general, but it's mostly randomized. And your goal is to make it from point A to point B, or as far as you can, all the while surviving like obstacles. Uh, uh, but yeah, all the while surviving. Sorry if I get distracted. Surviving obstacles and stuff that can ruin your run and completely kill you, each with a unique gameplay tactic and stuff. A unique gimmick, if you will. But and first off, it had some pretty interesting, unique characters in it, which immediately rung a bell. Like, yeah, this is a good start. And it was. The gameplay was fun, even if it was as simple as it was. It was interesting, but that's not even where it starts, because yes, I love the characters and all, but that's not the main point here, because the main point was the story. even if this is, if the developers, whom I love, are pulling a Scott Cawthon on us and just pretending to have a story, but then actually not like having a story. This game had loads of potential, like so much potential within it. Like immediately from when you boot up the game, you'll join a lobby and you can look behind you and see that, you know, there's just like back in 2022, you'd look behind you, you'd see just outside a black void with floating bridge pieces. And it rings bells in your head being like, yeah, this game's got something to it. And unlike games like Five Nights at Freddy's or Benny and the Ink Machine or like any other game that's really theorized upon, Doors felt special to me because it wasn't popular enough to be like people weren't theorizing all the time about it, leaving no room for any theorization for anybody else. And it allowed me to come up with my own unique theories because, you know, the story isn't straightforward. It's not something you can just everyone agree upon and be like, yeah. And it's not theorized so much on that no one else has the chance to come up with anything that's going to be unique. And so, yeah, Doors was great. Doors felt nice, special, even. So, of course, I formed a bond with this game that's like less important to the world than an ant would be. Because ants are pretty important if you didn't know. Yeah, nerd. Oh, shouldn't have done that. Anyhow, yeah. It's Doors is pretty great, honestly. And, well, to be fair, it may not be as important to the world, but like, it has definitely had an impact in some way. Being one of those games on Roblox, because Roblox has always been known for its low quality copy games. But then you got some very interesting games. And while Doors didn't start that, it definitely did enlighten it. Enlighten the fact that not everything is as you think it is. Because you can do a lot more than what you think with the tools you're given. And taking that into account, Doors created a game that looked so nice. People were praising Doors from the very beginning for being one of the nicest looking games on Roblox. Even if it's not the nicest looking game, like out of the games and stuff in general, it does look nice for a Roblox game. But it's not even just that it looked pretty, it was fun. It felt smooth, it felt refreshing to play. And even if it's gone down in popularity for a while, it's totally still my favorite. And it's definitely had an impact. If you look on Roblox and check how many other games are like it, then yeah, it's definitely pretty big for a Roblox game. It used to be one of the top games to be that was speedran. Oh, and it brought a lot of people who'd never even touched Roblox to the platform, and it was nice. But kind of running out of words here to say. This is why you guys come up with a script. If you're gonna make any video, you should probably come up with a script and not just wing it like I am. But yeah. And I've always, like, ever since release, I've loved the game. Even if I haven't been able to have an impact on the fan base in any way, really. It's definitely felt like I could. Definitely felt like I had a chance. So, with that being said, what makes me want to, play it? It's just such a unique game. It's like, it's so simple, right? Such a simple game. You go from A to B and try not to die. There's nothing too complicated about it. But they find a way to turn something so simple into something so amazing, which is very difficult for a lot of people to do. It's hard for people to come up with unique ideas because nowadays everyone's just going for the same horror games or just straight up copying off of each other. But Doors doesn't really do that at all. They always take something and turn it into something just completely different, or just like add something to it in a way that no one would ever think of. Take, for instance, this recent update. Spoilers ahead, people. In the Outdoors update, they released, a whole new subfloor with a bunch of new characters and stuff. And they took something that was really widely used all the time and put it in their game. That being a weeping angel. Now, at first people are going to be moaning and stuff. Everyone hates the monuments. If you've heard of the monuments, you know what I'm talking about. The monuments act exactly like weeping angels, except except the fact that they did it differently. Usually in games, they have weeping angels, right? And take like take for instance, what's it called? What's the game called? Trying to think of think of the game again. This is where the script would come in, but I'm just gonna think of a different game because I was trying to remember the name of this one game. But think of something like Dark Deception, right? In that game, one of the levels has a bunch of statues. And those statues move. But the catch is, you have to look at them in order to make them stop moving. And that's generally how weeping angels work. However, everyone puts the weeping angel effect onto something that's going to be seen. It's going to be noticed. The game forces you, or movie or whatever forces you forces you to see that character. So you immediately know what to look for. But with Doors, unlike other games, they completely hid this character, the monument, which is a stone sculpture with that can crack itself in half and grow legs all of a sudden. But unlike other games which like forced this character upon you, they completely hid the monument. No one ever, no one expected the monuments to start moving in the game once they saw them. In fact, everyone just kind of passed them without a second glance. However, this character still had the mechanic of a weeping angel. And so, when people looked away and looked back and saw movement out of the corner of their eyes, they're like, what is that? They don't know at first, that they're not sure of themselves completely that this is going to become a threat, though they are definitely extra wary. Whereas with most other games that include weeping angels, the player character is always wary. They're always forced to be watching this character. And while Doors does a similar thing, it's the entrance of the character that makes a difference. Because this character doesn't look like it would be moving in the slightest. It doesn't look like it would be any different from just a normal prop in the game. And so, honestly, it's just the way that it's played out that makes it so different, though. Because it's always chasing you, and sometimes you may actually just lose the character in general. Sometimes it'll be lost with the other props similar to it. And you won't know which one's real anymore, even if there are clues to tell you how it's different and which one's the real one. There is always a chance that you lose it, that you let your guard down. But that's just one idea of how this game turns something really used a lot into something unique and different. It also just adds a whole bunch more fear to the entire game in general. Apparently they're going to be updating the game soon, as of now, when releasing this video, to add a modifier that allows Monument to become basically any different prop within the hotel or mines, whichever floor the modifier is activated upon. But yeah, I think that's about all. That's all I really wanted to say. Just wanted to introduce myself. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm Icarus. I should have started with that. Again, this is where the script comes in. But y'all have been hearing me yap for quite a while. I believe it's been like 30 minutes at this point. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Yeah, that's a bit about it. Hopefully, I can start making more videos, get used to speaking more, so it doesn't seem as awkward. Gonna be trying to draw a lot. Gonna try to figure out streams soon so I can stream on VR and really. Oh, what are you doing out here? But yeah, try to play more games on in the background. May just straight up upload just straight gameplay without talking about lore or anything really. And yeah, so that's about it. Well, I don't really know how to make an exit that doesn't seem cheesy at this point, so you know. Well, just random cut.